Hi, welcome to SFCN and our week 2 of our high school pregame football show. I'm your host, Ken Money. I'm joined
by Sam Higginson.
And Sam, we got week 1 under our belt and we are ready for week 2.
A lot of exciting things to talk about. First, I want to give a shout out to our pregame show sponsor, Salem Chevron and Burger King. Thank you for your sponsorship.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I remember just a week ago, we're like now down to 29 minutes before kickoff. We got a lot to cover.
You know, and one thing you'll know, the high school football season, it rolls awfully fast. So we got to take advantage of it while we got it. We're down to about 28 minutes to kick off. So exciting times.
Let's talk a little bit about the last week. I think we both picked the winners. We picked Maple Mountain to win, and indeed they were victorious. So a big win over Woods Cross.
A huge win over Woods Cross. This is a team that beat them 3 times, twice last year and once the year before. They were able to come in and in a shootout, really, 21-18. A lot of great things happened up there, but they were able to get the win, so it's exciting times.
Yeah, in front of their home fans, and so that's exciting too. And then Spanish Fork traveled to Mountain View. I mean, to be honest, probably not maybe the best team they're going to face, but it was a great opening night game for Spanish Fork.
Yeah, just more than anything, getting the jitters out and having a chance to hit against other guys. And, you know, that's a lot of fun for them to be able to go over there and get a win and kind of iron out some of the wrinkles they have.
Yeah, and they've got another big game this week, which we'll talk about later. And just on a technical note, we just want to let our viewers know that at the conclusion, about the last 5 minutes of the Maple Mountain game that was on YouTube last week, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty. That's all been cleared up. So if you want to watch that game in completion, you can watch it on YouTube. In just a minute, we'll talk about where you can find that. So the entire game is now up and ready to be viewed. And Sam, just so we know, our fans, they got 25 minutes to kick off. Maybe review with us the 3 ways if they can't make it to either game they want to watch, what can they do?
Well, of course, right here on Channel 17 and 16, SFCN 17 and 16. You can also get it at sfcn.org or YouTube/Spanish Fork 17. So 3 ways to watch it. Great opportunity.
No excuse to miss football.
Exactly.
And we'll take a break and when we come back. Let's talk a little bit about Maple Mountain's big game tonight.
All right. Hey, welcome back to week 2 of SFCN's pregame high school football show. A lot to talk about tonight, but we're going to go ahead and jump right into Maple Mountain right now.
Yeah, and one of our staff members, Freddie Woods, had a chance to just to get a minute of Coach Burtonshaw's time. He's a busy guy, but he took some time for us to talk a little bit about tonight's game.
Coach, coming off an exciting win, what are the things going through your head?
Just happy for our players. You know, they've worked really hard in the off season, tried to improve, and to beat a quality program like Woods Cross, you know, just really happy for our players to see hard work pay off.
Any added significance because Woods Cross, you know, you beat them after a few years of not being able to overcome that?
Yeah, I think, you know, when they run a quality program like that year in and year out, you're always trying to beat those kind of teams and to compete with those kind of teams. And so, you know, it was a big deal for us to beat a team that's, you know, been to the semifinals the last couple of years and run the quality program.
What did you learn about your team after that win?
We did a pretty good job, but we got to get a lot better. I think every coach probably feels like that. There's always things to work on. So it really exposed some of our weaknesses that maybe we didn't notice against our own team practicing in August, and give us a chance to try to improve and work hard and get better.
I know you have defensive responsibilities on top of your head coaching responsibilities. What specifically are you emphasizing for the defense?
You know, it's really just making sure we watch film and prepare the way we need to so that we know what they're going to do the best we can, follow their tendencies, and then from that point we got to make sure we're aligned correctly and we know our own assignments. And, you know, the kids did a pretty good job last week. So
let's talk about Jaron Hall a little bit, your quarterback. He's a playmaker, he's exciting, he's fun to watch. I'm wondering how much liberty do you give him to, you know, call plays or have a say in how things are going to go on offense?
You know, there are certain situations that he has a lot of freedom according to what he sees. Some situations we don't give him as much because we want to still be the coach and do those things. But, you know, he's great. He's very intelligent. You know, he's been playing quarterback for 4 years now. And so, yeah, he does have some freedom to make different reads and change things as he sees fit.
So it was a night of big plays for Maple Mountain. Coach Burtonshaw finally getting that monkey off his back and getting that win over Woods Cross. Their 3rd attempt, or excuse me, it was their 4th attempt in 2 years. So,
but three times in 1 calendar year, and person on the show last week, it wasn't me, so it must have been you, said, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. So that's why we both kind of thought Maple Mountain, we kind of gave them the nod to get the win, and sure enough, they did.
Yeah, I think Coach Burton Shaw obviously had a really good game plan put together. And, we all talk a lot about this in football, but special teams wins games, and that's exactly what it came down to this week.
And what was the problem?
21-18. Woods Cross just couldn't find a way to get that PAT or that point after
touchdown. Missed 3.
Missed 3 in a row, and that was the difference in the game.
Wow.
So special teams does in fact win football games.
We know what they're working on in practice this week is the extra point. And and also a big part of the offense for Maple Mountain is their leader, Jaron Hall. It all starts at quarterback, and we had just a couple of minutes to talk with Jaron about this week's game too. Let's take a look at that.
Jaron got the tough win against Woods Cross. Tell me what the feeling was in the locker room after the game.
Pure enjoyment. We've lost to them 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row actually, twice last year. I mean, we wanted this game since the first of the summer when we found out we were playing them again. I mean, and obviously even coming off the field when we were talking to our coach afterwards in the end zone, we were happy. I mean, the guys had a great attitude about it, and I mean, we were looking forward to this next week against Corner Canyon. So it was fun.
What did you learn about your team after this game, after this win?
We got to fight. I mean, we're always the underdog. Every year we come in, always the underdog. But that didn't matter. We came out of the locker room before the game. We told ourselves. The coaches told us, this is your game. You've worked too hard to lose this one. I mean, the talent's there, the work ethic is there. I mean, you just got to go take it.
What exactly have your coaches emphasized in practice after this game?
You can't take plays off. We call it loafing on our team, and I mean, no one can take a play off, no matter if it's field goal, offense, defense, punt, no matter what. Every play counts, every position counts. I mean, you got to go 100% for that play.
Now, we all know you're a playmaker, and sometimes when plays break down, you use your feet, when all else fails. How much liberty do the coaches give you to kind of run around, or do they tell you to play it safe?
I mean, as long as I'm safe, they give me full liberty. When I feel like there's a play there, I mean, they let me take it. They have complete trust in me, and I appreciate that from them.
Sam, it's got to be with Jaron being a 4-year starter for Maple Mountain. That's got to help Coach Burton Shaw sleep better at night, having almost essentially an offensive coordinator on the field all the time. Yeah,
you're able to give a lot of freedom to that guy to make decisions and call audibles at the play, which is something that great quarterbacks do.
Right, and he had a big run for over 50 yards for one of the touchdowns, potentially the game-winning touchdown. So, yeah, we'll be hearing more about Jaron Hall as the season goes on.
Absolutely, and another great player, another guy that is going to be a key for them is James Wilson. Had a huge touchdown, but then came down and was a little bit injured on his knee, limped off the field. Let's go to him to talk a little bit about that injury.
James, we'll go ahead and start with the number one question on fans' minds, I'm sure, which is, how's your knee doing?
A lot better. It hurt at first, but it's all good now. I'm fine. I'm ready to go.
What was going through your mind when you were limping off the field?
That my season was done, and all the work I put in through all this summer was just gone. So I'm glad I'm better.
I couldn't help but notice that Jaron Hall was one of the first to rush to your side as soon as he could get off the field. What was that exchange like with you?
He just asked how I was feeling, and I told him I didn't quite know because I honestly didn't. And then trainers told me that I should be all right, and then everything after that was okay.
You guys got the win against Woods Cross. Tell us what that did for the confidence level of your team.
It made us feel really, really good. We've been working so hard, and we knew we had to play them right at the start of the summer, and we were just glad we came out with the W.
Hey, we're grateful to hear that James is healthy and going to be back on the field this week. I know that Maple Mountain is expecting him to be a huge playmaker.
Yeah, well, he looks good and healthy to me. Looks like he's ready to go. So I'm excited to have him ready to go. Two interesting things about James Wilson, real quick. One, he played for Spanish Fork. Dons started last year for the Dons. Then he's transferred playing to Maple Mountain. And two, he may have the most interesting haircut of anybody we've interviewed so far.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
I like that.
And then another big contributor for Maple Mountain this year is a junior. This kid he looks like a stud to me.
He does.
I don't know if I can say that, but he looks like an athlete. He's a big, tall kid, junior. Dawson Butler's just playing 4 different sports at Maple Mountain in 3 different positions: receiver, defensive back, and he ran a punt back. So let's kind of get to know him a little bit better, and we'll go to this interview. Freddie had a chance to catch up with Dawson Butler.
You had a pretty good game against Woods Cross. You had a big interception in the first quarter, and then a big punt return that kind of sparked your team. Tell us what was going through your head as that happened.
Yes, first real varsity game that I've been through. Kind of had some pregame jitters, and getting out there, getting that interception really got me going, really got me pumped. And the punt return, I wasn't expecting to be back there. He just told me to get back, so I got back, found a lane, took it.
I'm wondering, is there a senior leader that you think is most vocal on your team? You talked about leaders and relying on leadership.
I'd say probably either Jaron or Jordan. both of them really talk a lot, get us going, smiles on their faces all the time. So. Yeah.
You guys are about to face Corner Canyon, who had a great season last year. They lost in the semifinals. Have your coaches give you any specific advice against this team? They are a little young, a little inexperienced, but do bring back some starters.
Yeah, I think biggest thing for us wide receivers is they have big corners on the outside, so just sit there and jam us, so get off the line.
I'll tell you, Dawson looks like a stud, and his very first varsity game experience, what a great game to have to start your varsity football experience out.
Playing 4 sports in high school,
yeah.
that's pretty unusual. So
Looks like a really good athlete.
yeah. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun. The big game for Maple Mountain. It'd be fun to follow them. And to look at the
About 19
scoreboard, it
minutes
looks like
away.
we're 19 minutes from kickoff. So let's take a break and we come back. Let's get ready for Spanish Fork football.
All right. Hey, welcome back to week 2 of SFCN's pregame high school football show. We got a lot to talk about. You just heard a lot about Maple Mountain. We're going to go right into Spanish Fork. Big game coming up. We had a chance earlier this week to catch up with several key players and coaches for the Dons. Let's jump right into some of those interviews,
Yeah,
Ken.
you can feel the enthusiasm by talking to these guys. And the first coach that we had a chance to catch up with is Timon Marshall, defensive back coach, a really impressive guy. And let's take a look at our interview with Timon.
Got a big first week victory last week. How'd it feel for a coaching staff?
It was great. I thought our guys played real well, especially defensively. We forced 5 turnovers. We had 4 interceptions and a fumble recovery. So, like guys, for the most part, we're doing what we've been coaching them and asking them to do, playing to a high level. So we just need to continue to keep that moving forward. So it was definitely exciting to get that first week. So.
One of the things I noticed as a fan sitting up in the stands watching the football game is that there seemed to be an awareness on getting to the football. That seemed to be, guys were flying all over the field from a defensive perspective. Is that something that has become an emphasis here at Spanish Fork?
Yes, sir, yeah. I mean, that's one thing that we instill in practice, that every play, whether we're running a scout defense for our offense or it's a defensive emphasis, that we are pursuing the football, we get to the ball, we get a break, and we get back and get set. But pursuing the football is essential to be a good defensive team. So.
Anybody particularly that stands out to you right now that played a game that maybe you guys didn't expect as a coaching staff, or somebody that's just really doing their job, somebody that you expect to do it and they continue to actually execute, all their assignments?
Yeah, well, we had a lot of guys play well. A couple of guys that stepped up big for us on Friday night. Joseph Trujillo. This guy was kind of more of a JV guy. Last year, came out and played really well. He was actually our defensive player of the game, but he was flying around all night making. I think he finished the game with 7 tackles, had a tackle for a loss. I think he may have had a sack. And then a guy that's been standing out, Landon Jensen, junior linebacker. Once again, as always, where he needed to be was making tackles when we needed him to. And we had a lot of other guys, but those are a couple of guys that we were talking about on film that have played really well. So, we're looking for continued production from those guys to, continue to do what they've been doing. So.
Okay, last question. You had a chance to coach under Coach Chambers, who a lot of people would say knows a lot about football, played at a high level. Now you're coaching under Coach Smith. Do you see any major differences at all?
Oh, I mean, it was a privilege to be able to coach with Coach Chambers. I love my time with him, and Coach Smith has brought in a great energy. He came straight from college, came straight from BYU, and so understanding like how practice is supposed to run and be crisp and effective and efficient and full of energy. And I feel like our guys have really responded to that, and so we're continuing to get better. We have a lot to improve on as a team and as a coaching staff, but day by day I've noticed that we're getting better, and which is where we need to be. So.
A pretty impressive guy, Coach Marshall. He looks like a guy you can put on the pads and go out and play. He's
young guy, a lot of energy.
He's trim and fit, and he's a defensive back coach, a lot of fun. And some of the players we had a chance to catch up with as well on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, one of the guys that Coach Marshall talked about, Joseph Trujillo, defensive MVP, unbelievable talent. Last weekend just flew around all over the ball. We had a chance to catch up with him and talk about the excitement of the upcoming week. Joseph, you had a huge game last week. From my understanding, you were the defensive MVP. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was. The coaches picked me, but I was honestly kind of surprised.
Is that something that you think your teammates were a little bit surprised of? Maybe the fans or the coaching staff? Did you kind of step up, be a gamer that day?
To be honest, I felt like I didn't do that much better than my team because we were all pursuing to the ball and we were all trying to make the play. We were all trying to do our jobs.
One of the things that I noticed in the Mountain View game was that the defense was extremely aggressive. You guys really flew to the ball. You played defensive tackle, and I noticed you 10, 15 yards deep sometimes chasing after runners. Is that an emphasis this year for the Dons?
Yeah, our coaches really emphasize on pursuit to the ball during practice. That's how we condition sometimes. We just snap a ball and the coach's point, we got to chase it.
So tell me this, you guys have Orem this week, first big home game. What is the key to the defense this week? What do you guys have to do? I think it's a little bit tougher offensive team than you're going to face, or than you faced last week. What's the key this week? What do we have to do to stop Orem?
We got to be mentally focused, do our jobs, get it done, and we just got to do all the techniques we get taught to do and just pursue to the ball.
Was last week your first varsity start?
Yeah, it was.
What's it going to feel like to run out of that tunnel on Friday night here in your home field for your first varsity game here in front of your home fans?
I've been looking forward to this for 4 years, so I'm going to be really excited, and it's just going to be an overwhelming feeling.
I know that the coaches are really excited, Ken, about Joseph Trujillo and what he can bring to this defense. A lot of exciting things for his future in this upcoming season.
Fun to see these good kids. They're so humble. They don't want to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
Everything's deferred to the team, and that's kind of fun. But let's switch sides to the offensive side of the ball. And maybe not the biggest guy on the offense, but a guy who had a big role in the game is Niwa Tuita. You can find him on the field anytime with those braids that are underneath his helmet. But he scored his first touchdown, and he kind of told us a little bit about his first touchdown and that experience.
This week, you guys bring Orem into town. A lot of people say that they're going to be a much tougher test than maybe Mountain View was. What have you guys done differently, if anything at all, this week to prepare for Orem?
I feel like our intensity in practice was a lot better. Our scout team's pushing our starting team, so I think we'll be good.
You scored your first touchdown last week on a visiting opposing field. How did that feel, first of all?
It felt good. It was my first varsity touchdown, so it was nice to experience that.
And it was on a pretty tough route. The ball was thrown almost perfectly to the corner of the end zone. You had to kind of reach out and snag it and get in there. Did your legs go a little bit numb when you found out you were actually in the end zone?
Yeah, actually, I was kind of shocked, actually.
Well, it looked like you got some pretty good hops out there in your celebration dance. What do you feel, from an offensive standpoint, is going to be the key for the offense to be successful against Orem's defense?
Execution. I think that we need to push it and just be there all together, be on the same page. We can execute together as a team.
What a great kid, and he is fearless. I remember watching him last year. He'll take on anybody, doesn't matter the size, and so it's going to be fun to follow him throughout the whole season on offense for Spanish Fork.
Yeah, and another great wide receiver, one of the senior leaders that we have on the team this year is Isaac Pendleton. We had a chance to catch up with him. Let's hear what he has to say about the upcoming week as well.
Yeah, I don't get that much credit for it because the corner, he wasn't that great, actually. I just ran the route, and he bit way in, and I was gone. So.
Is that something you guys saw throughout the course of the first few series and knew you could go and get that play in?
Yeah, the corner, I think, was really inexperienced because he would buy on anything we ran and wouldn't turn his hips until I was already past him, so we could run almost anything on him, and he must have been a sophomore or something.
This week, big game, home game. I know you're excited about it. I know the team's excited about it. We're getting ready to paint fields and kind of bring the hoopla. What do you guys do to kind of keep yourself at a level where you don't get too high or too low when you're at home?
I don't know, just in practice, don't get too low by being positive, but don't get too high, I guess, is there such thing as too high, really, though?
It's interesting what Isaac has to say about, he's a little confused about high and low on the field, but it's early in the season.
Yeah,
we're all in preseason form. But he was actually the offensive player of the game for Spanish Fork and had a long reception, wide open, took it into the end zone. Sometimes those are the most tough catches to come up with.
Yeah, out and up. I mean, that's tough.
And nobody
that wide open, it's really a lot of pressure.
And he did, and he scored, and it was a lot of fun. So
one of the guys leading the offensive line out there, a 3-year starter, a big-time college prospect, Tanner Parker. We had a chance to catch up with him to talk about what it's like to block for the new quarterback, Nate Kiesel. How did it feel to finally be able to get out and hit somebody other than your own teammates last week?
It was good to get out and go compete and stuff and go put a whipping on Mountain View, but we got to get ready for next week against Orem. A lot tougher team. We got to prepare a little bit more mentally.
Nate Kiesel obviously looks like he's going to be, he's going to do both, run and throw. What's that like to try to protect a guy who's going to take off every now and again? Does that mean you guys have to get downfield awfully fast?
Yeah, it's hard to go into pass pro, and then when he takes off, because we don't know, he just takes off, and we got to chase after him, and we kind of have to read the defense when he goes, and we got to be a little bit faster than him so we can block him.
big, huge game coming up this week against the Orem Tigers. They're coming in with a lot of hype this year. You guys are coming in with a little bit of hype after last week's game. First home game, what can we expect to see?
We're going to defend this territory and do the best we can, be really disciplined against them, and go get a W again.
Tanner brings a lot of senior leadership to this team. He's really the anchor on that offensive line.
He looks like an
NFL
guy. He's
and
huge.
You can see why the college prospects or college coaches are all over this kid. Does a great job.
And a great kid, too, yeah. And we had just a chance, you had a chance to catch up with Coach Jordan Smith, talk to him about his first win of his career. He's 1-0 in his career, undefeated, and how he's kind of absorbing all this and what effect it's had on him. And I think you could tell he's had a pretty emotional week.
Yeah, let's check out his response right here.
I think as a new coach, you're always like, man, am I going to win a game even? You know, you kind of a little anxious and nervous about that. But it's just good to get the first one out of the way. So you just kind of move on, going to set that beside you. And we got a tough opponent this week, so it's hard, you know, because you just bounce right back. So
tell me this, in all honesty, how much celebration were you able to do with that first victory?
Really just the hours just previous, you know, after the football game with my family. It was good. We came right back to the school to watch film, and it was on to Orem. So just a few hours, I guess.
What can we expect this week from Orem? What kind of an offense do they run? What kind of a defense do they run?
So an offense that's very similar to ours, a spread, read option type of team with a lot of run-pass options. So it looks to the naked eye that they're trying to run the ball, but they also have a couple of guys out on pass patterns. And it kind of stresses out your defense a lot. So offensively, that's what they're trying to do. Defensively, they just got a lot of good athletes. A lot of it's just man coverage, and they just blitz you. So look to see a lot of pressure, a lot of man coverage. Just their dudes fly around, just athletic. Good team.
Do you think Nate Kiesel, our quarterback, is kind of built for that exact kind of defense? I mean, if you're going to blitz that guy a lot, he's going to probably expose you a little bit with his legs.
Yeah, that's the one thing. If they do blitz him, they got to get him, or else he's going to get them with his legs. But offensively, we've got a lot more quick game as far as getting the ball out quick on pass routes to help kind of combat that pressure that we'll see.
Coach Smith is going to be fun to follow. You can feel the enthusiasm. It's great, and
a lot of energy.
And we're getting close to kickoff. Let's take a break. We come back. We'll wrap this up, and we'll get ready for the football game.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back to SFCN's Week 2 high school pregame show. We are about ready for kickoff. Looks like we're 2 minutes away, so you've got just enough time to get something to eat, go to the refrigerator, go to the bathroom, call your uncles, your aunts, your neighbors, your home teachers, anybody who's interested in following Maple Mountain and Spanish Fork, because we got a great night of football ahead.
Yeah, and Ken, you know what? I talked a little bit last week on the Spanish Fork postgame show or the halftime show. We had an opportunity. I got a text message in from a guy from Kuala Lumpur who was watching the game. Make sure that you get this out to everybody and anybody that wants to watch a football game. If they can't make it live, this is a great opportunity. You can go to our YouTube channel /SpanishFork17. You can go to sfcn.org, or you can watch the Maple Mountain game right here on channel 16 or right here on channel 17. So guys, with that, we are ready for kickoff. Fans, let's send it over to the games. Hey, we want to give a special thanks and a shout out to our sponsor for the high school pregame show right here on SFCN, to Salem Chevron and Burger King.